Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the J's Up podcast. I'm Christopher Nicanor. I will be your host. And
This is Jaime Leal. Gonna be your co-host, and we're both members of the 2020, 2021. We're going to be 2021 graduates, and we're really excited to bring this podcast to you worldwide. Worldwide.
in a worldwide way where anyone and everyone can view it. So basically, the point of this podcast is to basically give voice to the students during especially these dark times when we feel we're the most unheard and we feel like everything is happening that is beyond our control, beyond our power. And we feel like a lot of decisions are being made with the students' best interest in mind, but without the students' opinions being brought in. And so this podcast is to give voices to the students, to give voices to myself, to Jaime, to my fellow seniors, to everyone who's been going through these hard times, but also to stay aware of the things that are going on in the world, whether it be bettering our community, whether it be bettering our country, or bettering the world. We're going to talk about topics that can range from entertainment to sports to anything you can think of. And it's just keeping students informed on what's going on in the world and, having a good time. So, Jaime?
Yeah, exactly. We're piggybacking off of what Chris said. Yeah, we want to have a good time. We want to bring awareness to the students that have voices as well, but it's harder for them to speak out. And we're here to speak out for you and help to spread it. And what we really got to do, I'm going to say it right now, we got to spread love to everybody. And it's really important that we show it, that we show that we care, and we want the best for everybody, because we want everybody to stay safe, in especially in these situations that we're in now. And we gotta spread love.
Yeah, I think Jaime said it perfectly. Spreading love is what we're trying to do and trying to spread awareness about everything that's going on. So, Jaime, what did you do today, man? What were you up to?
Well, I ate chicken today.
You ate chicken today?
Yeah,
Yeah?
man.
That
Yeah,
chicken sounds good.
I had barbecue right before this live, because it was running a little bit late. So I was like, well, let's get a good meal in there. So I ate, and then I came right here. But yeah, I slept most of the day. Not gonna lie.
Hey,
But
what else you got to do? What else are you going to do?
I know. What'd you do?
I actually woke up pretty early. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep, but I'm feeling good. I woke up at around 10:30. I started off my day with some water. I ate a granola bar, and then I started working outside with my dad because, dads want to work on their backyards and want to better. I mean, we got nothing to do. We want, like my dad said, we're in our backyard all the time. I want it to look as best as possible for me, for you, for your mother. And so it's like, I mean, I understand. Like, I mean, my dad's working hard. I'm working hard. We're all doing things just to better ourselves during this time. And that actually brings up our second topic, which is the current situation of the pandemic, how that's been affecting us as students, us as individuals, us as people, us as members of society, and things that we've been doing to keep positive, to keep ourselves positive, to keep ourselves active, and to keep ourselves aware. So, Jaime, what have you been doing? So we went on spring break somewhere in March. Was it March?
I have no idea when spring break.
It was March, right? And so like mid-March or something. And we haven't gone back since. We finished the school year off online. people graduated and that was amazing. So what has been keeping you busy during this time?
Well, I've been spending a lot more time with my family. I
Hmm.
learned a lot about my family. If you guys don't know, I have a stepdad and two stepsisters, and I mean we're at school all day, so I learn about them every single day,
Hmm.
and I learned to love them. And
Hmm.
so what we've been doing is we've been renovating my house. And
Mm.
before, this background was gray, like this the wall was gray. The the interior of the house was all carpet. It was carpet and stuff. Now it's laminate flooring. Um, the exterior was originally yellow. Now it's white with beautiful wood, and I'm not gonna lie, I was complaining every single day that I was fixing up this house,
Yeah.
and to see what it's actually turned into, it's very, very beautiful, and I'm very, very happy that I did work on this. So yeah,
Eh,
I just doing a lot of renovating and
mhm.
still keeping up with a lot of sports. Yeah.
Or the lack of sports.
Yes, exactly.
And
Somehow,
I think what
yeah.
you said was perfect. You said that while you were doing these things, you said you were complaining, and like I feel the exact same way, and I think that's a beautiful testament to what's going on right now. Right now we feel like, oh, some deity must be against us, like everything that could possibly go wrong in society is going wrong and being brought to light right now. But you said we're going to hate it while we're in here, but when we see the success that being in these dark times does, and the growth that it brings, we're going to really be enlightened on what uh, an experience this was and the people we would be without it, or are currently with it. And I mean, things I've been doing, I've been staying home. I
Mhm.
don't leave my home. So when we first went off, I was home for about a month and a half, because we have like this app that like tracks where we are, and it tells you how long you've been someplace. And it said I had been in my home for a month and a half. I had not moved. I eat at home. I mean, obviously, I sleep at home. I do everything here, and I hadn't left my home because, I mean, people. I mean, obviously, it was recommended that we self quarantine, and so we did. But things I've been doing to keep busy, I've been talking to friends, to my family, staying aware about what's going on, playing games, playing video games. But right now, um, we're leading more towards into this. We're leaning towards like into the school year, and I'm starting to kind of work on the things that I can work on, like maybe getting back in the groove of doing like math or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But mostly like theater and stuff. Like I'm working on stuff for theater. I've recently gotten into like like exercising more because I felt like I've been at home for so long. I haven't used my legs as much as I used to, my arms, my anything. I've just been home, and so I figured I'd like to stay active, and it's something I highly recommend because after a few days you start to feel amazing, and you start to feel like, I don't know, like you're on top of the world. And so fitness is a really good thing that you guys should get into. If you haven't, if you feel like you're telling yourself no, right now is the best time. There's no excuse right now.
That's just
And so
100% true. Yeah.
absolutely get into it. But yeah, friends have been keeping me happy. Social media has been keeping me aware of the things that are happening. Um, but overall, like, how have you felt like about everything?
Well, I mean, going back to the beginning of the year, it felt unfinished. Everything just felt like you did something 60% and you wanted to finish it with 100, but
Hmm.
you couldn't do it no matter how hard you tried. And so for a long time, it felt incomplete, and like nothing was finished. Like it just felt like
Hmm.
an unfinished project, and it was boring and it was lonely. And but now, actually, recently, thanks to Chris, I made a bunch of new virtual friends that I never thought I would meet before, and it
Hmm.
was pretty dope. It was pretty cool. Because Chris has a live for those of you who don't know. And and he adds people much like this podcast. It's he was host on this live, and there's a bunch of great people who would jump on the live on different days. And one day I jumped on the live, and they loved me. What can I say?
They loved him. He's a lovable
They
guy.
loved me. So they all added us to a Zoom message, much like this one, and we were all talking, and we learned about all these different people who I never thought I would ever meet. And
Hmm.
now they're all talking about, after this pandemic, what are we gonna do, and stuff like that. We talk every night, and it's insane. I would have, if this pandemic never existed, I probably would have never met any of these people. I would have never
Hmm.
been on those lives that Chris has every day at 11, and life would have been so much different.
Hmm. And it's recognizing, what's been going on and how we can grow from it rather than seeing it as a complete negative. During this time, I remember in the beginning, it was super. I mean, like you said, it was defeating because I just felt a sense of defeat because we had just left everything out. If you guys don't know, me and Jaime are a part of the theater department, and we were in the midst of a super competitive one-act play season, and it just ended. It ended before we could even
Begin.
perform at a by district level. And I mean, last year, if you guys don't know, PSJ Southwest Theater made it all the way to state. And so we spent months working on a show. But this show was cut so short. We did it for like 2 months, a month and a half. It felt like it felt like it was too short.
Way too short.
And um but now, I mean, and even like about a month ago, I've really started to grow as an individual. I've started to realize like who I want to be as a person. It's given me time to reflect. It's given me time to reevaluate my choices in the past and the person I truly am and the things I truly believe. It's helped me realize those things and reflecting on myself and the person I want to be. And without this pandemic, I think I wouldn't have these things wouldn't have happened. These positives wouldn't have happened. And it's making sure we focus on the positives to get ourselves through this big old negative, if you'd like to call it that. You know what I mean? And you know, I've made a lot of friends through that live. I probably wouldn't have started that live. I probably wouldn't have started exercising. I probably I wouldn't have been focused on bettering myself. And so this kind of gave me a break from school, from theater, from societal pressures to do all of these things. It gave me a break from that, and I don't know. It kind of liberated me in a sense. And I mean, I'm not going to thank Corona for happening. That would just be wrong.
Yeah.
But it's focusing on the positives to get through this negative time. I think is very important.
Yeah, man. It's harder. It was harder to find the silver lining to Corona 3 months ago. Like, there was
Mm-hmm.
no such thing. It was just a terrible pandemic. But you do learn little things, and they could help you in the long run. It gave us pretty much like it strengthened
Mm-hmm.
however, strengthened us for sure. And and yeah, of course we're not happy it happened. We wish
Mm-hmm.
none of this ever happened, but it did. And it's helped us in many ways. It brought us together in so many ways. You see people on balconies and stuff at certain times, and thanking the thanking the nurses and the doctors who've been helping and stuff like that. You see,
Mm-hmm.
they're all singing, and it's great. We've been brought together, and there's still a lot of societal issues that are going on today, uh, where people do want to argue over certain things, and but at the end of the day, we've all been indoors, and we've all been sticking together.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I think is really cool about this, because we're told to social distance and to stay apart. But even though we're in these circumstances where we're all self isolating and stuff, I don't think as a society we've ever been so together. And that's another huge positive that I think wouldn't have happened had this whole situation been different. But having said that, let's focus on the things that we miss. I mean, let's be real. We miss a lot.
Yeah.
And so what are some things that you miss, man?
All right, let's get the easy one out of the way. I miss theater so much, bro.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, man, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: the fact that we didn't finish off what could have been great, it really, really, really sucks. But knowing
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of other schools felt the exact same way, and I'm not saying this to brag or anything, um, but at the end of our last competition, we got first place 3 straight times,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that just gave us the motivation to keep moving forward, knowing that we have a chance at going to state.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it ended so fast was heartbreaking after working on it for so long and going through all these uh, uphill battles.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just sucks to end it the way we did and losing
Mm-hmm.
out on friends and everything, like not seeing your friends every day. I moved to Southwest last year. Last year in that semester of Corona,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned to meet. If you guys don't know, Chad Grino, Leo Leon, uh, Jesus, Google, and a bunch of the theater people that I would have never met if I didn't. And to see them all leaving, they're all seniors. To see them all leaving really hurts. But I'm really happy I still have Chris and uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have a lot of the theater department left, that I made such good friendships with, and I'm excited for the possibility of having school next
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, friends are like some people that, are the most positive influences in our life. And seeing them every day gave most people a reason to keep on, trudging forward and looking at the positive. But now some people just don't have that connection to their friends. There's some students who go to the school who maybe don't have the things, aren't as fortunate as others, and can't reach out to their friends. And then to those people, I truly feel for. And I mean, it's really upsetting and sad to hear those kinds of things. But I mean, I miss my friends, yet I have the possibility to reach out to them and talk to them and text them and call them. And you know what I mean? And I mean, I can't think of anyone else's situation in which they don't feel that way.
year.
But again, theater, it is a
Yeah.
huge thing I miss. I mean, I miss the lunch food if we're being honest.
Okay.
I
Me too.
I miss the lunch ladies. They're all super kind, super nice.
Mhm.
I hope they're all doing great. I miss the faculty. I miss my teachers pushing me, teaching me, you know. I miss our director. I just there's so much things that are connected to school that I miss, but also like I miss, you know, going out and being able to freely just roam, not worrying about anything. But like we said, this is something that will take time. It's going to take time, but we have to focus on things we can do to improve it for the time being, and looking at that, looking forward to a future, a way more positive future, and looking forward to, walking freely and not worrying about a pandemic. And so, yeah,
Yeah, the
I felt,
every generation has been through something. Now it's our turn to go through this, and understanding that we need to heal from this, and this can't just be like, oh, it's over, and then we all go back to our normal lives, because it's not going to be like that.
mm-mm,
Time, and we're going to have to learn to live this life, and which in many ways I actually have. I've
mm-hmm,
learned to cope with it already, with whatever it is. It's not that bad, not to me. I still miss everything, and that
mm-hmm,
hasn't changed, but I'm really happy that we're here and we're talking to each other, and we're making a podcast out of it.
and we're keeping conversation alive, which is something that
for
I think
sure.
needs to continue during this time because, you know, making sure your voice is heard is something that I think everyone strives for. And so that's what this is going to do. And I mean, throughout the dark times, we have to make sure we look at the light. And although this pandemic is happening, we have to make sure that we're keeping safe, that we're staying aware, and, just making the best of it. So, hello, and welcome to the third segment of the podcast. Here we have Alan Santamaria, who is going to be a freshman coming into PSJ Southwest. And we're basically going to talk about how ways we can prevent COVID from spreading and ways that we can, hygiene and stuff that we can use that keep us safe and keep us protected from COVID. And so, Alan, is there any blanket statements you would like to say about the situation going on and how maybe some things you've been doing and things that you've done to protect yourself and maybe your family?
Well, the situation is not easy, to say the least. It's a hard thing for everyone around the world. It's something new for the years now. And just to be fair, I've been at home. When I do go out, I have to wear masks and gloves, and it's something new that this virus comes to our world, and now we have to adapt to everything. It's something. If you wanted to do something you were doing back then, you got to do it differently now to protect yourself
Mhm.
and others. So,
So, what are some things that you can say that have kept you safe besides like staying home? Like, let's say when you go out, is there any procedure that you follow? Of course, wearing the mask, that is, something that is recommended by the CDC. And is there any other things that you can say that are like really beneficial to our community and things that we should follow?
of course, when I go out, even when I wear gloves, or if I don't, I always, and we always as a family, we have permits in the car to clean our hands. When we get home, we wash our hands. In the beginning of this, we would even get wipes and clean out the groceries because this virus, the way it works is you can pick it up from speaking to someone or germs on certain objects and touching your face. So just the mask and the gloves are not everything itself. You always want to clean your hands. If you go out to say a park like we have, if you're gonna sit on a bench, clean your hands afterwards, or just don't. You have to be careful with those certain things.
Hmm.
So it's
Um,
always cleaning and hygiene.
right. Staying clean, staying aware of the things that are going on, staying aware of how the disease spreads, how people contract it, the most
Yeah.
common places for people to contract it, how social distancing is something that really does work,
Oh,
and
of
how self-isolating and being in quarantine is something that is very beneficial and something that I mean I've been doing and I'm sure you've been doing, Jaime has been
course.
doing these past few months. And I have one question that I'll ask. When you wash your hands, how long do you usually wash your hands for?
Well, I've gone with a skin doctor before, and she always says that before she does procedures, and now I do this because of the virus, she always washes her hands for almost a minute. She's got to clean in between her fingernails, on her palm, the back of her hand, in between fingers. You always want to make sure you clean your hands as best as possible, especially now because as the virus might not be a threat to you, but it could be a threat to your family and the elderly that you have.
Hmm.
So it's
So
just
how do you? Yeah, I get that. I know like people have come up with like certain songs to sing while you wash your
yeah.
hands to like make the time fly by, and I think that's really cool. But how do you think the people who don't see it as the threat to society as it is, how do you feel about those people who like just push it aside and don't really care and still kind of do their own thing, go out, don't wear a mask, which again isn't regulated by the state. It's recommended and heavily,
Yeah.
heavily recommended by the CDC. And so like, how do we deal with people who like, or how would you say the best way to like prevent from meeting these people? Like, what would you say that
I feel
solution is?
as those people are out in the public living their lives being ignorant to the virus, I feel like the best way to avoid contact is the 6 feet rule. That is the best way to stay out of someone's way like that. And you're ignorant, but I feel like those people should be considerate for, if not their health, others' health. Because for people with
Absolutely.
asthma, the elderly, this can really damage someone and potentially be life-threatening. And if it's not you, just be considerate, Be
Hmm.
considerate, people, wash your own hands, try to wear a mask even if you don't feel it's necessary. Because like I said, you might be safe, but it's everyone around you safe.
Right. And that's something that I think a lot of people haven't considered. Like we all have grandmas, we all had grandparents at a time, and like how like it's just putting people before yourself in a time where society really needs us to for the betterment of like ourselves and anything. And so I'm just gonna ask if Jaime has anything to say, has anything to ask.
Yeah, actually, I went to South Padre Island yesterday to have a safe, responsible meal. And going over there, I saw a lot of people getting off a boat. None of them had masks, and they were all close together. And the smartest thing to do is just stay away. I was in the car, so I really couldn't do anything about that. But people are treating it like it's already ended, when it's
Yeah.
in reality it's only just begun. As
Hmm.
cliche as that sounds, it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the best thing we could do right now is stay indoors, stay in our car, have safe, responsible meals, and go places where where you're at less risk for the virus.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what we need to be doing in order to keep our family safe, our grandparents safe, our friends safe. Because if one of us gets it, it just keeps going to other people, and it could potentially kill some.
Hmm. And so I think the final thing we have to say, or that I have to say about this, is that clearly it's something that is affecting our society, whether we want to believe it or not.
Mm.
And it's scary. It's incredibly scary that people are treating it like, like it's really nothing. But the best thing that I can tell you, the best thing that Alan can tell you, the best thing that Jaime could tell you is to stay home. That's the easiest way to avoid any type of contact with the virus. Is make sure you guys are staying home, staying safe, washing your hands. You know, Alan said, make sure you really are clear on hygiene and things like that. Because if not, I mean, during these times, I get it. Things can become very, you know, depressing or something like that. But we got to make sure that we're looking beyond the times that we're in, and we're looking forward to the things that we can do. And in order to look forward to those things, we have to abide by certain regulations. And although it's not required for us to stay home, it is heavily recommended by the CDC and by your fellow community, because we all want to be better together. So, Alan, thank you. Um, Thank you for what you had to say. It truly, I mean, you said everything that I think a lot of people need to hear, and for that, I thank you. All right, Jaime.
And
Having
yeah,
heard the things that Alan said, having talked about our experiences with the pandemic, ways to keep safe, and things we miss, what is something that you look forward to? What is something that you hope society learns from this, crazy situation that we're in?
not to take everything for granted. I mean, there's so much that I would say I dislike school to the biggest extent, and I would dread going every day like a regular high school kid. But now that it's gone, I want it more than ever.
Hmm.
And yeah, I miss going out. I miss all that stuff, and we just need to be more careful. We need to spread love to everybody, because if we're all hating on each other, then what are we doing? I mean, we all gotta
Hmm.
love each other. We all gotta be together in this time, and there's no better time to do it than right now when everybody needs it.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, I think that's a big lesson to be learned, is not taking everything for granted. I look forward to being able to talk to people and not have to be 6 feet apart, being able to hug every person in my family, my friends, having these conversations with them. And that's what I think is super liberating about this podcast, is we're able to have these conversations. Granted, we have to be, you know, through a screen, but however we keep these conversations going. And so with that, I think we're safe to conclude. I think a lot of what I've been holding in about the pandemic and about my feelings about it really, just I let them out. I hope you feel the same. And I just want to let people know, just stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for watching the first episode of the J's Up podcast. J's Up.